Have you ever had a dream that you had you?
Dreams are something that everyone is very familiar with, and have been a point of fascination for Hollywood and films probably since they've been made. Most of us have them every night, most of us forget them, but they seem to always leave us with a sense of lasting wonder. And it is usually the case when you dream, you think it's real life, or at least you accept that reality as your own. So movies take dreams and make them real, a la Inception or in films like Dune. But as a dream child myself, when I see dreams in films, I always think that they can be doing more. If you will humor this notion, something I don't get a chance to talk about very often because, as I've mentioned, most people forget their dreams, don't have them, or don't pay them much mind. I have the types of dreams that I'll say most people only hear or read about. I have dreams like Inception, or like Paul Atreides. I'm a dreamer. So in this video, I'd like to talk a little bit about the types of dreams that I have so that I can explain what the movies get right and what they could be doing better to bring them to life. And specifically, I'm going to be talking about lucid dreams. Let's start by breaking down the types of dreams there are, and by extension, the types of dreams I've also experienced, sometimes regularly. There are vivid dreams, prophetic dreams, everyday dreams, nightmares, and lucid dreams, which we're going to be talking about. I experience all of these types of dreams, or at least I have experienced all of these types of dreams, but today we're going to be talking about lucid dreams. That's what I feel Hollywood has not done a great job at representing effectively as a person who dreams. Now, if you're interested in dreams, I would suggest, at least if you're interested in learning about the meaning of dreams, I would suggest looking at dreammood.com. That's a good website. Not perfect, but it's a start. In fact, I would only use websites or books. If you're trying to follow an influencer to decipher your dreams, I would advise against that. But I digress, and that brings me to another point. If you don't experience a lot of weird dreams, which we will discuss here, or you don't remember them all, or if you don't remember them at all, that's kind of normal. Also, the most odd and unusual dreams and sleep state-like vision experiences tend to occur most often, according to studies and reports, it seems, in people who are neurodivergent. Not that it's impossible for anyone to have them. I will also point out that some of what we dream and the interconnectedness of dream symbols seems to, in my experience, come from the Great Spirit. So I don't think it's just in people's heads. But I will say neurodivergent people seem to be more receptive to more diverse experiences, I'll say. At least that's what I hear the research seems to suggest. Now, let's get into the fun stuff. Lucid dreaming. That's the type of dreaming you have when you know you're dreaming while you're dreaming. Studies say at least 50% of us have had one. A small percentage have them more frequently, like monthly, which is clear because Hollywood likes to capture the effect of lucid dreaming a lot in film. Like in Inception and stuff like where people control their dreams. But here is what I find could be better in films. I think these movies don't go far enough into what a lucid dream could do. Let me explain. I first remember realizing I could do this maybe in middle school or high school when I generally preferred to be asleep, and when I figured out I could be lucid while dreaming, I would try to do it every night. In fact, I distinctly remember trying to study for a class that way, which probably meant it was high school, which wasn't very successful. Reading and using numbers is incredibly difficult in a dream, from my experience. Now, my lucid dreams aren't limited even today to just deciding where I go or what I do. I could do pretty out there stuff. And yes, many people experience things like flying in a lucid dream, but I've done a little more than that. Like these things.
She did?
Yes, Rogue has a way with men.
Don't hold my hand. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, Clark. It was such a nice day, I thought I'd just, you know...
You caught me off guard. I'm new at this, so sue me.
So the types of things that I'm able to do when I'm lucid dreaming are numerous, and I think because of that, I tend to have from one time or another, from time to time, dreams that are very cinematic and very out there. Here are some examples of things that I've seen or experienced while dreaming. At this point in my dream career, because I've been lucid dreaming for so long, I don't usually actively think about whether I'm dreaming or not. It's usually just the case that I assume that I can do what I want in my dream because I've been in dreamscapes for so long and doing what I want. I actually vaguely remember for the first time I started lucid dreaming, I had a conversation with myself during a dream, and I said, "This is a dream. I'm in a dream. Maybe I could just wake myself up." And I couldn't. So I kind of sat in my dream and I was like, wow, I'm stuck. So let me see what I can do since I can't wake up. After that, I can't remember what happened, but I started doing things that I wanted to do. Different things that seemed, dreamlike or magical. And it was really cool for me. So I remember going to bed at times after that and thinking, I'm going to see if I can lucid dream again. I'm going to see if I can control anything again. And so I actually went into my head and practiced lucid dreaming for quite a while until, life happened and I was no longer fixated on that. It was really fun for me, and it was actually more enjoyable than being awake in a lot of ways, but I did that for a while, and now, like I said, it's almost second nature. There are some times that I have to check with myself to see if I'm actually dreaming, and other times I just join the dream and try already knowing that I can do whatever I want in it. And then, of course, there are other dreams that are more prophetic and more abstract that you really don't have control over. You're just really there to experience whatever your mind is putting you through. Or if the dream comes from the Great Spirit, that is just something you have to experience. Generally, I find that I can't control those dreams, or I don't think to. But yeah, those are lucid dreams. So my point with all of this is to say that I think Hollywood could do a little better with lucid dreams and perhaps what they think is possible inside of a dream. Let's take a look at one movie that is about dreams or living in a dream, which is Inception, a very famous movie about going through different dreamscapes. I always liked Inception. I thought it was interesting conceptually, and there are some things that I actually learned about dreams that are very true in Inception, like the spinning top thing, the thing that tells you you're dreaming or not. It's not something as insignificant as a top when it comes to what's that thing that helps you realize that you're dreaming. But even in my own life, I've noticed that if this one thing isn't there, or if it is there, I know that I'm dreaming, or I know that I'm not dreaming, and it helps me feel okay in a dream, especially when I'm having a bad dream or a nightmare, to know that if this one thing is being challenged, I know that this isn't real. But the thing that I didn't like about Inception was it was too very simple. Yeah, I think it was cool that they did this kind of terraforming or matter manipulation type of dream abilities. If they wanted to go inside of a glass mirror, they could. If they wanted to flip the world upside down and the sky and the ground reversed itself, they could do that too. If they wanted to spin a room around, they could do that if they wanted to. But to me, I thought that was very simple. In my dreams, I've been able to fly regularly. I've been able to shoot lightning, control the weather. I've been able to make somebody disappear. I've been able to use telekinesis. It's pretty fun. And when I didn't see that in Inception, it kind of made me think that they really aren't thinking outside the box enough. Same thing with what you grow to understand about what the Matrix actually is. The Matrix is a kind of network or system that is created by machines implanted in people's brains, but the people in the actual network are functioning in a sleep or dreamlike state. And so the reason why Neo is able to do such amazing things when he is in the Matrix is because his mind is expanded to a point where he can decide to do whatever he wants, because there's no limit on what he's able to do, like matter manipulation and flight and telekinesis, if he wants it, it seems like. And other people were able to do basic versions of those things, but I never saw anything as interesting as changing the color of your hair, clothes, or being able to summon objects or shoot fire blasts out of your hands. That's something that you should be able to do when you're lucid dreaming. In fact, I've done some of those things. I actually remember one of my most recent dreams in which I wasn't sure if I was dreaming because it seemed like a realistic scenario and I was kind of getting annoyed. I think that's when I know I'm dreaming most often now, is when I'm getting annoyed with a situation in my dream and I'm like, okay, this is really annoying. I want to get out of this right now. Am I able to get out of this, or am I just dreaming? And so I try to test it out. I think in that dream, I took my phone out and waved my hand over it. And I was like, if this is a dream, I could change the color of my phone. So I waved my hand over my phone and the phone case changed to green from black or something like that. And I was like, oh, great, I'm dreaming. So I think Hollywood could definitely do better. Even in cartoon versions of having a dreamscape, they still seem to be limited on what you can actually do. I think about the animated movie Imaginary that was on Netflix. I also think about Paprika and how it was about dreaming, but you never quite see everything or anything that someone can do, even through Paprika, which was actually quite good, and how imaginative and surreal things get in dreams. But I think that's the difference. Your surroundings in your dreams become weird or unusual in the way Hollywood tends to imagine them, or all film in general tends to imagine them. But the person themselves that is dreaming doesn't seem to have any power over or ability to manipulate the universe, like being able to do magical-like things in dreams, which is weird to me as a lucid dreamer. But this is also something that I do see represented in a different type of film. When they are doing movies about video games or stepping into a different TV show, they illustrate how a person can get those powers that represent that video game or that world. They do that with Jumanji. They did that with The Fairly Odd Parents. They do it with a lot of video game inspired media, but they don't do it with dreams, as if there is a limitation, which is very interesting as a person who feels like I'm an experiential expert on dreams. Not an expert on dreams, but I've experienced lots of dreams and lots of dream types, and I understand how they work. I feel like we can get outside of the box a little and do more with dreams so that people can see how they are really beyond what they think they are. And they can see the power of dreams because they are powerful and they are viewed in a lot of cultures and religions as very spiritual things, and they are. But I don't think we represent everything that they are or could be in dreams, in movies, and film well enough. Now, granted, doing things in dreams that are like what I'm describing takes practice, and it's actually kind of hard from my experience. What I notice about lucid dreaming, and I don't try to lucid dream anymore, it just happens, but one thing I notice is that I can only do certain things if I'm concentrating, and I can only do certain things if I'm feeling super confident and good about myself that particular night while I'm sleeping. For example, sometimes I can use telekinesis, but if it's a scarier dream, sometimes when I try to use telekinesis, it won't work the first time. So I have to keep trying to do it until the person or object moves the way that I want. Sometimes I'm not as strong or as fast in one dream as I am in another, and that can do largely with how I'm feeling inside of my body. I might be sick or I might not be feeling happy that day, and that all impacts my ability to do things inside of my dreams. I think the hardest part of it is flying. Flying is the hardest thing to do in dreams for me personally. I think the reason why is because when you're flying, you know that regular physics don't work. And so your mind has to create a reason why you would be able to control how you move inside of the air, when physically you should not be able to do that. You should be falling in most cases. So unless I'm feeling particularly confident, flying is super hard. I'll be able to levitate, I'll be able to get off the ground for a little bit, but then my mind reminds itself that, oh gosh, there's physics, and I start falling again. And that's an issue with me. I have to try really, really hard. I remember one dream where I was flying like Goku. I was really happy because I had my crew behind me and we were all flying at supersonic speeds around the globe and up into space. In that dream, I didn't have any trouble flying at all. But another dream, I had issues with flying. I was on the ground and I was looking up and I was like, I want to get up there. But every time I got above a certain threshold, I started falling because I got scared and I started falling down to earth. I think that's how your natural inclination is for most people. We tend to have some level of fear of heights, and flying doesn't make actual sense. It's actually captured very, very well in an anime called Fate Khalid Liner Prisma Ilya. This is an anime from the Fate series. I watched most of it, and in the beginning of the first season, when these girls got their powers, one of them was able to fly with the powers and the other one wasn't. Instead, she used her powers to fly by imagining herself hopping or jumping or catapulting or propelling herself off of magical platforms that she's able to create in the air. And the reason she gave as to why they both had the same powers but she wasn't able to use them to fly was because she can't in her mind imagine the mechanism by which somebody who doesn't have wings is able to fly through the air.
I can't fly like Eliasvia. I just couldn't visualize flying. All I could do was create a series of compressed circles in midair to use as stepping stones, and that's not flying.
And that's exactly what I experienced in dreams. Sometimes logically it doesn't make sense for someone to be able to fly through the air. So when you do, you tend to fall in dreams, or at least I do, or I can't fly, or I have difficulty getting off the ground. Although I do believe I have flown with a broom before, like a witch. I remember that being easier. The only thing that I think has really come close to me feeling satisfied by how they depict lucid dreams is a character from an anime called Black Clover. She has magic over dreams and she has dreamscape magic, and she literally can do anything inside of that dream. And it was really great to see this. I liked being able to see that in a dream you can control basically everything and anything. And it's only limited by your imagination. And I think that's true in lucid dreams. You're only limited by your imagination and also your confidence in yourself to believe that you can do anything that you want to do. Your ability to feel whole and well is the only thing that impacts your possibilities inside of a lucid dream. So I would love to hear more people talk about dreams and see more dreams in movies and shows, because I think they're very interesting. I understand that most people don't have these types of dreams. Most people don't lucid dream or know how to lucid dream. But I hope that the people who do are able to see themselves and their lived experiences inside of dreams in more realistic ways, or more thought-provoking ways, more fantastical ways in movies and film. The same ways that they experience the dreams inside of their heads. That's what I want Hollywood to do or become. But I also wonder how many people have dreams, lucid dreams, as free as mine, or freer.